Fish on. Hearing this means your fishing efforts have been rewarded. Today, I will be talking to you about saltwater fishing types, boating choices, and different techniques. Let's go ahead and jump in and look at the difference between inshore and offshore fishing. What exactly is inshore fishing? Inshore, or backwater fishing, is any type of fishing that is conducted in the inland waterways and not out in the open water of the ocean. It can be the intercoastal waterways, it can be inshore bays, canals, creeks, coastal marshes. Any of those areas are considered inshore areas for fishing. Two that we like to concentrate on are the inlets and the coastal marshes. Inlets are just basically a highway that's going to allow you to go from one waterway to another waterway. These inlets are great areas because they typically go from either a deeper area to a shallower area or a shallower to a deeper. Because of that change in depth, they become great areas to fish. Bait fish tend to hide in the shallower areas, and the predator fish or target fish tend to hide in the deeper areas. So it's a great ambush site for those predator fish. Coastal marshes, on the other hand, are areas that rise and fall with the incoming and outgoing tides. As the tides come in, the fish move in. As the tides go out, the fish move out. So that time when the tide is in is a great time to fish the coastal marshes. Also, when the tide is coming out is a great area to fish those coastal marshes because at that same time, all the bait fish and the predator fish are leaving those areas and moving back out into the water, the deeper waters. The type of fish that we're looking for when we're doing inshore fishing is going to be fish such as your redfish, your speckled trout, your tarpon, snook, and your flounder. And in some cases, in some areas of the country, your stripers. Now, offshore fishing, or deep sea fishing as it's commonly called, can be anywhere from just outside of the inlet, from the inshore waters, to 150 or more miles offshore. Your typical day trip is going to take you anywhere from just outside of the inlet to up to about 60 miles offshore, depending on your time. Your overnight trips can carry your fishing party well up to 120 miles or so offshore. The types of fish when you're offshore fishing are going to be your mahi-mahi, your snapper, your grouper, your triggerfish, kingfish, wahoo, you name it, it's out there. Now, to get out there, unless you can walk on water, you're going to need a boat. Let's look at a couple different vessels and see what they all have to offer today. Choosing the right boat is vital to your inshore or offshore fishing trip. Two that we'll cover today are going to be the center console or the dual console. The center console boat is basically a boat that has the driving station in the center of the boat. This allows for full 360-degree fishability and normally, typically, offers the most fishing space per any of the vessels. A dual console boat, on the other hand, is a boat that has a driver's side console on the right-hand side and a passenger console on the left-hand side. Because of these two consoles, now your fishing area is split into front and back. It limits your fishing area and does not offer you that full 360-degree fishability. The best size for an inshore boat is going to be between 16 and 25 feet in length. You want something with a shallow water draft, meaning that the boat does not sit very deep in the water, which will allow you access to those shallow water coastal marsh areas for inshore fishing. Now, offshore boats vary widely. Today we'll look at just a couple. Again, we'll look at the center console. The center console, if you remember, has the driver station in the center of the boat, offers full 360-degree fishability. These boats are best used for your tournament fishermen, your day trips, and anybody that's not looking for a lot of modern conveniences on a boat. You're going to be lucky if you have a bathroom. All right. Sport fishers, on the other hand, are the far end of that spectrum. The sport fishing vessel has every convenience of your modern home, and I mean everything. Add in a nice sized fishing deck on the back, to do whatever type of fishing your heart desires, and that is your sport fishing vessel. Offshore boats tend to be a little bit bigger than your inshore boats. These boats can be anywhere from 25 feet to well over 80 feet in length. So now that you've picked out your vessel, jump on board, shove off, and let's get fishing. Inshore and offshore bottom fishing is just as the name implies. It's fishing on the bottom. Doesn't matter whether you're inshore or offshore, you're still going to use the same techniques. You're going to take whatever bait you have and you're going to put it on the bottom of the floor of whatever waterway you're fishing in and wait for the fish to bite. Inshore bottom fishing is going to be done in those same areas that we've already discussed, your coastal marshes, your inlet areas, around bridge pylons and such. You can be bottom fishing inshore from anywhere from 2 or 3 feet deep to 50 to 60 feet deep. Offshore, on the other hand, you're going to be fishing anywhere from 80 feet to well over 1,000 feet in depth. You're going to be looking for either man-made or natural underwater structures such as rock formations, sunken ships, caves. Anything that's going to hold fish is what you're looking for. Now, inshore and offshore trolling, just like bottom fishing, are pretty much so the same. Inshore just happens to be on a smaller scale. Usually you're trolling with about 3 to 4 lines in the water at any given time. You're going to troll those same areas that we've discussed before, the inlets, because they're usually deeper water areas, and you want to troll where that inlet goes from the deeper water to the shallower water, or from the shallower to the deeper. You want to troll those areas as well. Or the coastal marshes when the tide is in. Remember, you got those bait fish in the grass beds, and the bigger predator fish are just laying just off those grass beds waiting to see that lunch swim by. So if you troll those areas, you tend to get more hits. Offshore trolling is on a larger scale, usually somewhere between 5 and 10 lines in the water at any given time. You're looking for floating weed beds. These floating weed beds can be a few feet wide and a few hundred feet long, or up to 50 or 60 feet wide and 30 miles long. But when you find them, you want to start your trolling there and troll back and forth the lengthwise of those weed beds. Other areas are temperature breaks in the water. That's where anywhere where the water would go from, say, 80 degrees to 82 degrees. Those are other areas that you want to try to do your trolling around when you're offshore fishing. Now, we've talked a little bit today about the differences between inshore and offshore fishing. Let's look back at what we covered. Today I've given you a little insight on what saltwater fishing is. We covered the difference between inshore fishing and offshore fishing, boating choices, and some of the different fishing techniques with trolling and bottom fishing. So if you ever get a chance to go saltwater fishing, I highly encourage you to take it. You will enjoy yourself. Have a great day, and thank you.